Silo is Apple TV's new dystopian sci-fi show created by Slow Horses creator Graham Yost, based on the cult favourite self-published Wool series of novels by Hugh Howey. And it comes with some high expectations, as Apple in particular have been knocking the sci-fi genre out of the park for a while now, with both smash hits and critically acclaimed projects such as the likes of Severance, Foundation, and For All Mankind. Silo is the kind of show I feel that we probably wouldn't have got without COVID and lockdowns, as inertia kind of took hold of us all, and it plays on that very effectively. There's a unique opening to this series as it narratively borrows a page from another Apple TV project in Mythic Quest by giving us an incredible kind of bottle episode love story that actually doesn't involve the characters we're going to spend so much time with, or the actors we're going to spend so much time with. But interestingly enough, it's the first episode, and these are our first impressions of the world. We meet David Oyelowo playing Sheriff Holston and Rashida Jones Allison, who've just been given good news that they've been cleared for a year to attempt to get pregnant. The Silo world arrives fully lived in, as the creators casually drop in phrases, then keep us guessing as to what they actually mean or what the hell is going on, seemingly without any rush whatsoever to explain anything. We hear about rebels, we hear about the before times or sanctioned relationships, we hear about the down deep, the up top, the mid tiers, for example. But again, the show's in no rush to tell you. You have useless trinkets that belong to in our world, in our times. This is obviously set in a dystopian future, such as watches, cameras, or even Pez dispensers. They're referred to as relics, and being found in possession of unsanctioned relics could be punishable with your life. What we can tell from early on, though, is that everyone in this silo is living deep underground, and especially made almost Mad Max-like environment due to what we imagine, but it isn't explained because even the main characters don't know, with some kind of nuclear holocaust style happening. But all of our characters, like I said, seem as oblivious as we are to the actual circumstances surrounding it. What we know, though, is the outside is considered unsafe, and that's constantly visualized on big screens throughout the silo to remind our characters as such. And while people are free to go outside and request that, doing so is a one-way trip and considered to be a death sentences. Relationships and pregnancies have to be sanctioned by the all-powerful judiciary court system, who seem to even outrank the mayor and the sheriff in terms of power and influence. And the events of the first episode and a half set the mystery into motion, as it's only then that we're properly introduced to our main characters, which again, like I said, is jarring at first, and you do kind of need to take 15-20 minutes to actually be like, oh, I kind of want to go back to those guys, I really like them. But it actually ends fine, and it's okay in the end. Leading the way is the stellar Rebecca Ferguson, who is transfixing as engineer Juliet Nichols, who may just unravel everything. She plays her both steely and vulnerable, constantly ready to either punch someone or break down in tears at just a moment's notice. You've got Tim Robbins here as Bernard Holland, a shadowy figure straddling the halls of power, who we aren't sure is either trustworthy or if he's just a friendly but blunt, honest face. Well, you have Den Common playing Judiciary Enforcer Robert Sims. Sims is a great character who's really important to the show itself, because he's got kind of his moral center functions as the nuance that's reliable to make this into just more than just any other kind of bog standard sci-fi show, and into the prestige show that it's very much trying to be. And with that, the characters nuance, what's funny about it is the characters nuance elevates this into that show, because it's like, who's in power? Do they care? Are they actually good people? Are they fooled as well? Like, that's kind of what you're thinking the entire time. But also, then the actor side of things, you feel that Common does have a ceiling, and it's just his performance at times for the character's importance as a fulcrum for the show leaves you wondering if we are watching game-changing prestige TV, or if it's just a fun sci-fi caper that we shouldn't get too attached to. But on the flip side, the rest of the cast is pretty stellar. You've got Janaza Uche continuing his absolutely star-making year as he follows up, holding his own across from the untouchable Florence Pugh in A Good Person by absolutely dominating as Ferguson's reluctant sidekick, Robert Billings. Uche is able to make Billings soft-spoken and instantly trustworthy, but also steely, determined, and almost dangerously ambitious and loyal to the status quo. There's also a phenomenal supporting cast in play here. Although one thing that you've probably heard, if you've heard anything about this show, is about the American accents, because you do have amazing kind of supporting actors. You've got the likes of Ian Glenn and Harriet Walter here, who do fine with what they do, but definitely should have brought more than the horrific stabs they have at their American accents, which is sometimes comedically bad, sometimes embarrassing, but again, never spoils the show. It's not that kind of offensive. At its peak, Silo threatens to be one of the best TV shows of the year. At a time, there's a real vacuum for great TV, with the likes of Succession and Barry ending on the same night, and then Better Call ending last year. So we need these kind of high grade shows, and we need them to start so we can get hooked on them for the next few years. Its world building is absolutely phenomenal, up there in both scope and execution, with any recent show likely operating on multitudes of the budget that they have, such as the likes of House of Dragon or Rings of Power. And if you can excuse the few dodgy American accents, the cast is also fully bought in and working with a massively scripted material. A total of 6 directors helmed the first series 10 episode run, and the Morton Tildum and Adam Bernstein episodes, which are the first and last 3 episodes of the series respectively, really stand out for building unbearable tension, all while keeping the mystery very much intact and increasing our connections to the core characters. It reminds me in some ways, and I use this as a compliment, it is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, of Lost, in that you find yourself at its best moments screaming at the screen for characters you don't really know, doing things for motivations or reasons, or even like you don't understand what they're doing. And that's a real testament to the direction and the tension building in the show. The show is never bad, and the series can be considered a massive win for Apple, but there are points, particularly in the middle, where it kind of lags. It reminds me of, and I hate this term because I do like world building, I do see the need, and I do enjoy the need of just getting to know characters, but of the kind of filler episodes that we had in The Walking Dead, where you can see in hindsight how it set up the world and our characters for the bits at the ends that we loved, but there was just an element of fun missing here that made these few episodes in the middle drag. There is a murder mystery at the core of this, and if you want to stick to the murder mystery, that's fine. Just give us all killer then and cut down kind of on the exposition and the world building. But if you want to be this kind of epic, expansive universe of a show, then I need to see and understand and relate to and want the stakes involved. I need to live in this world, and they did try and make me do so, but it needs that fun, likable element to kind of see and understand what it's like at its best. So when that breaks down, I feel the loss of that, and I feel like, oh my god, there's this amazing world that these characters are fighting for, and someone's ruining it or something's happening, and I also have to know what the characters are fighting for. Like, why are they trying to protect this world? Why are they trying to have the power? Why are they trying to take the power away from people? What is it that where are the relationships that they're trying to kind of form and save and make prosper, and what are they actually fighting for? And I think in the exemplary first episode, it really does show us that. But again, you have to consider that that is a bottle episode. So we never actually see that through the eyes of the characters that we spend the show with. And actually, their lives are pretty fucking bleak. It's a type of existence where you're like, you know what? I'd probably fucking go outside if that was the case. Having said that, then by the end, it kicks back in for the last 3 episodes and gets amazing again. So you'll have forgotten all about that by the season's ending as the mystery begins to unveil itself. Slowly, I'll warn you, by the way, again, don't expect to learn everything and understand everything by the end. It's a mystery box show. And if you know anything about mystery box shows, they're not going to tell you everything in series 1. They're just going to set it up, and if anything, make it a bit more confusing. But it is a satisfying ending to the series. And as well, it's such a hit that already they've written series 2 and they're recording it. So there might be a relatively recent turnaround until season 2. All in all, Silo is a very good 10-hour season that probably would have been an amazing, game-changing, great 6 to 8 hour season. But it's on Apple TV now, and I highly recommend you get in on the hype train before the entire planet joins along, because I feel like they're going to do so.